Hey guys, make sure if you're watching the video, you smash that subscribe button, share with your friends and family, and comment in the comment section what you'd like to see me do next. Make sure you follow me on social media. It's down below, so go ahead and go follow those. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a discussion and review. I have been on the up and ups about watching American Gods since it's come out. I've seen advertisements, I've heard things about the show, I've heard good, I've heard bad, I've heard criticisms, I've seen clips on YouTube, but I finally, a couple months back, about a month and a half back, decided to actually sit down and watch and check out the show American Gods. And let me tell you something. That show, oh my God, it surpassed my expectations because I didn't expect to see the stuff that I saw in it. Okay? Orlando Jones as Mr. Nancy? Come on! You can't tell me that when you hear Orlando Jones, Drumline, Evolution, other movies that I forgot the name, I can't think of the name of right now. That man can act. That man is perfect for his job. That man is great at his job. And he played the great role of Mr. Nancy, a god in African folklore that was a trickster spirit and a storyteller. He played that part so well that when I hear him talk in interviews or heard him talk about why he got fired from the show, it's like, wait, keep forgetting he was acting in a role. He played that role so well. And the thing that I read about him playing that role was that he wrote it to be the voice of all of the angry, black people out there that didn't have a voice for themselves. He used that character to represent strength, anger, and disdain for years and years and years of stuff that we as a culture, we as people have gone through. And I'm not taking anything away from the rest of the people on the show that acted their asses off. Let me tell you something. You had some great actors in this show. The one woman that her name was Laura Moon in the show played in Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch as the main protagonist in that movie. Okay? I didn't even know that. You had the freaking weirdo from the original Charlie's Angels that liked snipping women's hairs and sniffing it. He was Mr. Worlds in that. And I'm going to get into Mr. Worlds in a second. Let me tell you something. I've never been more intrigued about learning about mythologies and gods in my life. And you guys know on this channel, I've always been into Greek and Norse gods because Thor is my favorite. The god of war from Greek mythology is my favorite god. And in the gaming universe, he's portrayed by Kratos when he made a vow to Ares on a battlefield when he saw himself losing the war. Okay? We didn't see those guys in there yet. We didn't see Ares. We didn't see a representation of Kratos. We did see a representation of Thor, as known as Balder Odinson, in the show. That shocked the hell out of me because the only Thor that we're used to seeing is the MCU's version of Thor in live action. We haven't really had that many incarnations of that character in live action except from what we got in MCU. And the same thing with Odin. We've gotten a lot of movies based on Greek mythology, Clash of the Titans, Wrath of the Titans, Percy Jackson. We've gotten a lot of movies, Hercules from the Disney Channel, Hercules that The Rock played in. We got a lot of movies that represented and had a representation of Greek mythology, but we never had movies or shows that represented other gods like this show did. Okay? You had your African gods. You had your Chinese gods. You had your Japanese gods. You had your Native American gods. You had your Indian gods, Mama G. The Jinn. That actor, what's his name? I have some of that written down because this is like my first time like really discussing a show that I watched, so I'm not good with memorizing names and stuff. But the actor that played the Jinn sadly will not be coming back for season 3. Okay, he wasn't even contacted about returning for season 3. The new showrunner, I have heard, has been a huge problem moving forward for season 3. Orlando Jones is not being brought back to play a character that's strong and represents anger. He played his role too well in the eyes of that new showrunner, so they're not going to bring him back. They're saying that they're going to follow the books. No. Wrong. Don't follow the books for season 3. You follow the story that was represented in the first 2 seasons. You're going to have a lot of cliffhangers left over from season 1 and 2 into 3 because there's a lot of stories that are left that won't be discussed and explored in season 3. I want to know what the hell is up with Shadow Moon. I want to know what's next for Odin. I want to know what's next for Mr. Nancy. I want to know if Matt Sweeney comes back. A lot of these storylines that we got in this show won't be explored in season 3 because most of these characters or actors that portrays these characters are not coming back. You have a lot of people on social media, and I know this show ended almost and or a little over a year ago. I'm kind of late on this. Like I said, I just got into checking it out. You have a lot of people that are dedicated to this show that are angry because you're not bringing back some of the pivotal characters that represented a lot of the things that are going on now. Now, listen, I'm an advocate for leave reality and reality, leave TV and TV, because TV is what we're supposed to have to escape everything wrong going on in reality. I'm a huge advocate in that. But when you have a show that is based off of human and God mythologies, human and God culture, okay, try to push your agenda a little bit in that show to educate people that aren't as educated as most. And Mr. Nancy did a very good job at that character. The Jinn and his lover in this did a very good job at that character. It wasn't forced. It was written in a way to where you didn't even think twice about it because it goes with the characters that are being presented. Okay? That's my issue with that. Orlando Brown, I read, he had a lot of say on what his character said and how his character presented himself. And let me tell you something. He was my favorite character throughout 1 and 2, with Matt Sweeney being number 2. Okay, those 2 were my favorite characters, and I'm glad we got some backstory into who the hell Matt Sweeney was later on in the season, towards the end of season 2. And inevitably his demise. I'm sorry to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. Go check it out. We found out that Matt Sweeney was a God King. Okay? He had some kind of ties with the sun. And that's funny to me because that's an Ireland god, Irish god. But Shadow Moon, a character that was mysterious and has been mysterious. If you have not read the book, season 1, season 2 has been a mysterious character. Like, why is Odin? And this is for the people that have not read the book. I was one of the ones that did not read the novels before I watched the show. So a lot of this I was blind to, but I clued it in as the show went on. Shadow Moon. Why was he so special to Odin or Mr. Wednesday? Why? I was thinking this throughout season 1 and 2. And as season 2 came to a close and all of the things that Odin and his mother alluded to kind of started to add up. And another question for me was, why was Mr. Worlds so obsessed with Odin's demise? And then I started thinking, in mythology, who is extremely obsessed with his brother and his father's demise. No one no more known as Loki. More obsessed with the demise of his family members so he can rule. And I started piecing that together. Mr. Worlds has to be some form of Loki because Loki's a master shapeshifter. He's the god of mischief. He has a lot of other strengths, but he's leading the new gods. So that started to click like that with me. Why is Mr. Worlds so adamant, so intense on Mr. Wednesday's death? The old guy's death. Old God's death. Why is Shadow Moon so important to all of these people? He seems to be a normal man. And Mr. Sweeney, throughout the series, was saying he's nothing more than someone Odin is using. And it didn't make sense to me that way. Because I can't imagine this high-profile God of gods, All-Father, protector of the 9 realms, protector of the tree of the world tree. Why was he so interested in who the hell Shadow Moon was? And then it started to make sense to me that all of these African gods in this show knew who the hell Shadow Moon was before Shadow Moon even knew what was up. That's why Mr. Nancy bust his chops so many times. This is why the Queen of Sheba had a thing for him. This is why Anubis was so eager to, to teach about death and all of this. Let me tell you something. This show made me interested in learning more about other gods and other religions. More about that rather than just staying in my own realm of knowing about Norse mythology and Greek mythology. I actually went out to Barnes & Nobles and brought 2 big behind books on deities and gods and influences in human history. 2 big behind books. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to watch season 3. Because I'm mad Orlando Jones, as Mr. Nancy, will not be reprising his role because this new showrunner, clearly the showrunner thought that his character was too strong and he voiced a lot of anger. The Jinn being a gay character, fire in his eyes, SHIT for brains is what he said in the show. Was a gay character, and he eventually had a lover in the show. Like I said, no problems with it. It all worked how it was supposed to work. The story was phenomenal. But I'm upset that a story that's been building for 2 seasons, a perfectly shot story, a perfectly directed story that was shot for 2 seasons, we're kind of like, what's next? Because some of these characters aren't coming back. The young woman in there that played the personification of Easter left in the middle of season 1 or in the beginning of season 2. I don't know, because they wrote her out at the end of season 1. I'm assuming because Odin as Wednesday, Odin as Asani, who he brought him to the House of Rock. That was the last episode of season 1, I think, when they went to Odin's chambers and he asked, what about Easter? And, that was their way of writing her out of the series because she left after the original showrunners left. So you have all of the, and I wanted to see more of her. I wanted to see what was next after she completely wiped out the harvest. I was shocked by that, mind you. I was completely shocked by that. When I saw that, you know what I thought of? If you remember in X-Men Apocalypse, when Charles Xavier told Jean Grey to release her power, that's what was popping in my head when I seen that. I saw that, I was like, release your power! Like, automatically. I know I'm going on a tangent here. I'm going on a rage, but it's baffling to me because These are characters that the general audience probably have no idea about. And you have this amazing opportunity and this amazing platform, which is technology and TV, to educate. And you're going to completely wipe out the story you've been building to follow books in the middle of season 3 or in the beginning of season 3. There's a couple things. Like I said, I'm new to this, and so I took some notes. There is a specific song that I've heard throughout this series that invokes so much emotion, that invokes so much passion, that invokes so much just, I felt like I was floating. The American Dream, that was the name of the song. And every time that song played in a scene, it just matched so beautifully. It was in the scene where they went into Odin's chambers. It was in the last scene of season 2, in the final episode, in the last scene, where it seemed like Shadow Moon figured out who he was and who his father was. And throughout that whole, those 2 main scenes, like, that song just invoked so much emotion. Whoever composed that song and whoever edited that scene, those scenes in that way, I have to give you respect. Okay? The actors that aren't returning to the series, I'm gonna completely shatter his name. So if you ever see this video, which I highly doubt you're gonna see, I apologize ahead of time. Moisa Kurish, again, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. He wasn't even asked to return. He's the actor that played the Jinn. I follow him on Twitter. I follow a lot of the actors that were on this movie, on this show, on Twitter. Orlando Jones, who was fired. Gillian Anderson left after the first 2 showrunners left. That's the personification of Easter. That's all of the information I found on who would not be reprising his role. I saw that the guy that played the Jinn's lover also won't be returning, but I don't know. Don't quote me on it. Mr. Worlds, that creepy guy that is the personification of distribution on a mass scale, I think he is Loki, the god of mischief, the god of shape-shifting, he who wants to bring Ragnarok. It just blows my mind that they leave you hanging with who some of these characters are. You have Tech Boy and Tech Boy 2.0. You have Media. You had Argus. You had so many references to Norse, Greek, European mythology, Native American mythology, Scandinavian mythology. You had all of these. The show was good. You had some slow episodes here. You had some fast episodes here. And you had some episodes that just weaved everything in perfectly. Shadow Moon is the demigod of light and purity, which would explain why Laura Moon, his ex-wife, zombie Laura, dead wife, she has so many names, Roadkill Rhonda, which explains why she is able to see him in the way she does after she's come back from the dead, with the light that pulsates every time he gets lost, or, every time she needs to find him. That would explain that. In the Hall of Odin, when they had that phenomenally done scene, you saw an angelic glow around Shadow Moon that made you like, wait a minute, maybe he is something more than what they are leading on. Why would Odin allow Shadow Moon, someone he just met in season 1, passage into his mind. But Mad Sweeney, someone who has been indebted to Odin for seems like thousands of years, since Mad Sweeney goes all the way back to when Christianity and that was introduced, which was thousands of years ago. Why would he allow Shadow Moon and not Mad Sweeney? And Mad Sweeney's actually a god. Odin made it seem like Mad Sweeney was a leprechaun. Erased his memory. Oh no. The guy that Mad Sweeney killed cursed him to madness, so his memory was just all over the place. But why would Odin allow Mad Sweeney passage? God. Not Mad Sweeney. Shadow Moon. He's a god. He's a god. That's all I can say. Shadow Moon is a demigod. His mother was very adamant on who his father was. And then Odin, who first appeared in the hospital to Shadow Moon, showing him that coin trick. And then throughout the series was dropping hints. And then at the end of season 2, that last 13 minutes, Shadow Moon pieced it all together when he was destroying the world tree. He wiped the board clean. He made it snow. He teleported to backstage by himself. He's a god, clearly. In this, they show that humans, us, we created the gods and not the other way around. Which is a very interesting premise. I know it pissed a lot of people off. I know that, but hey, what can you do? I like that. I like that idea that we created the gods. We had questions that needed answers and gods appeared. Mr. Worlds has an influence over every conspiracy theory that's happened throughout humanity. Human history. Mr. Worlds has been behind enemy lines. He's the man behind the man that's behind the other man with the other man behind that man. JFK. I know they didn't bring it up in this, but the situation with the Twin Towers. All of these, he's had influence on. Who is he? Who? You had a beautiful scene where we were introduced to Anubis, right? And I said Anubis earlier, and I meant Mr. Ibis, who was the coroner, and he's the god of knowledge, writing, wisdom, magic. Anubis, the god of basically leading the dead to the afterlife. Those two, I wish they would have showed their true form in the Hall of Odin. I'm gonna call it the Hall of Odin. That would have been very interesting to see, because in Egyptian mythology, we know that Anubis has a head of a dog or a wolf, whatever you want to, or a jackal, or whatever you want to say. And Ibis has a eagle head or something like that. I need more exploration of Egyptian gods in season 3. Guys, if you have not checked this show out, I suggest you somehow download the Stars app on your phone or TV or iPad or however you watch this show. Binge watch 1 and 2. And let me know your thoughts about this show in the comment section below. All I can say is, wow. Wow. This show was, and I find myself I'm at work thinking about things. I find myself going back to the show and watching it. I just finished watching season 2 again. I may watch season 1 for the 15,000th time. I may watch season 2 for the 17,000th time. This show just leaves you with questions. Okay? And if you guys don't know, Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends and family. I thank you for joining me. I appreciate all of you. Let me know your comments down below. And guys, please pray for me. I'm trying to win a C8 Corvette that Street Speed and In-Chain Designs has auctioned right now. I brought some of his merch. Let me tell you something. Some of that merch is fire, okay? Some of the merch is fire. Go check him out. I'll leave Street Speed 717 in the comment, the description down below. Go check his channel out. Show that man some love, okay? Show him some love, but pray for me. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me on this rant. Let me know in the comment section if you have seen this show. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what questions you have lingering so we can discuss it down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends and family.